Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons.
Hello, I am Europe's Gallo 8.
And we talk with words.
But perhaps we shouldn't.
Okay, so today is the 12th of April, it's the 12th day of VEDA and a partridge in a pear tree, and it's time for another We Talk with Words, but maybe we shouldn't, and perhaps you already got that impression. I don't know where you would have got that impression from, but yes, that's today's thing. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah!
Yeah. So, today's topic of discussion is...
Something to do with films and movies. I don't like the word movie, it's too American, so films.
Films, and... well, mainly the topic of sequels and remakes. This topic came to mind, well, Tuesday. This Tuesday just been, because I went to the cinema to see the sequel of the SpongeBob movie, Do Not Question My Life. Yeah, I'm just... was a sequel to that really necessary? And that got me thinking of all of the sequels that are coming out, like there's an Incredibles 2, and there's going to be a Toy Story 4, and I'm just sort of thinking, are all these sequels and remakes really necessary?
Not to mention Frozen 2, the refreezing electric boogaloo, whatever.
Yeah, that's a thing. I really don't think that Frozen needs a sequel, to be quite honest with you. I mean, the first one ended so brilliantly and perfectly that I really do not know what they could put into a sequel.
Well, the sad reality is, they're not interested in what they can put into a sequel, but rather what they can get out of it. It's just, in effect, and this applies to a lot of sequels, especially to successful films, it's not that the sequel is another installment in the series, it's just another piece of merchandise, just like, you know, a shirt or a thing that you'd expect to find in a Christmas cracker any other time of year. It's like, it's just an extra bit of thing to help sell the first film. And so you can expect, and this is something of a stereotype, admittedly, but you know, in these sequel films, they tend to be lower quality, they don't really add anything to the universe, well, of a film. They don't add anything in reality in general, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And then sometimes it gets a bit out of hand. I mean, you know, for instance, Shrek, like, it was alright, you know, it got a sequel, fair enough, and then it just sort of spiraled out of control. We've had a third one, a fourth one, there's probably a fifth one in the works, and all of its various spin-offs. There are others, well, like, it's getting to the point where the film industry has taken all of its cues from Final Fantasy, where there's sequel after sequel after sequel, and not all of them are necessarily even related.
Yeah, and while you bring up Shrek, Madagascar is another work.
Oh, yeah.
Another film, well, made by DreamWorks, that is sort of like... Madagascar, yeah, that's good. Madagascar 2, yeah, good.
But why?
Madagascar 3, just why? And then there's a spin-off with the Penguins of Madagascar. I mean, they already have a TV show on Nickelodeon, and there's going to be a movie made about them.
And is it with them, or is... No, it's the sequel to Rio, where in the German dub of it, Conchita Wurst is doing one of the voices.
I think it's in the German dub of Penguins of Madagascar.
It's something like that, anyway. But Rio 2, another unnecessary sequel. I mean, I never saw the original, but still. Like, it seems just ridiculous. I mean, the Toy Story series, they got it right for the most part. They, you know, they had one successful film, fair enough. They followed it up, and they tried to put as much heart into it in the second one. Then they left it for a whole load of years. And then when they released the third film, it was sort of like the Shovel Knight effect, in that, you know, it gives you nostalgia when it's something completely new anyway. Well, not it's the same characters, but a new story, which is fair enough. But now they're making a fourth one, and no, just stop it. You're ruining the original effect, because perhaps they were just trying to capitalise on people who had nostalgia for the first two films, but they're making a fourth one, and, like, no, that's in really bad taste, especially after what happens in the third film.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, like, Disney have done, like, these little Toy Story short film things that are, like, about 5-10 minutes long at most. Yeah, that's fine, it's sort of like filler, or a bit... like a short film that you watch before you actually watch the film that you're going to watch.
Because this is filler.
Filling up the time. An hour and a half is just too much for the creative mind. Ooh. Yes, I know what you're referencing. Don't question my life. Anyway, but those Toy Story, like, short films, they're good for filler. Toy Story 4, I don't... It's just...
It's insulting more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, like, what? Duh. I can't think of plot. Anyway.
Like, what more is there to add? The story's over. This applies to a lot of these films as well, which leads me back to my point about them being, you know, just merchandise, cash cows and whatnot. And, like, it's not like it's just quote-unquote kids' films, but, like, what we're up to now? Taken 3 or 4? And I've seen these memes of Liam Neeson saying, "What? Again? Fuck it, keep her." I'm sick of it. Fair enough, because we've had enough of these. It's the same film over and over again.
Yeah, and while we've been talking about sequels, we've not really touched that much on remakes, and I've only recently found out that Ryan Gosling is going to be in a Haunted Mansion remake, and yeah. Granted.
Oh, is that the one that the Nostalgia Critic did a thing on, and it was the guy who's only famous for being the donkey from Shrek.
Eddie
really.
Murphy.
That's the one.
Yeah, there was a Haunted Mansion movie that starred Eddie Murphy, and now is
it a remake of that one?
Yeah.
In fairness, according to the Nostalgia Critics, I've not seen it. I've just seen his review, but not anything else. Like, apparently, it needed a remake that required, you know, the proper treatment. So if they're just going to redo the original film and make it shitty just as much, then what's the point? But if they remake it with love and care and the attention it deserves, then, you know, it could end up working.
Yeah, and granted, I don't really know which came first in terms of the Haunted Mansion. Like, I don't know if it was the original film that came first or the ride at the Disney parks. But
I think it was. I think the film was based on the ride as a means of capitalizing and advertising the ride.
Yeah, speaking of films based on rides, kind of, Pirates of the Caribbean. That was a film that had many, many, many sequels. Well, 4, I think.
You know, it's just occurred to me, one that's actually quite topical, a film that's had sequel after sequel after fucking Star Wars. Where did that even come from? Was that a book to begin with, or did they just make these films because what the fuck?
I don't know, because believe it or not, I have never seen a Star Wars movie.
Neither have I. I've only ever seen parodies of them. Like, they're really not my thing. They're just... Why do they have so much hype? And why are there so many of them? Like, go away! What's the point of these things?
I feel like, I don't know whether Star Trek came before Star Wars, but I feel like it's either trying to compete with Star Trek or trying to be like a huge sci-fi thing. I don't know.
And, like, on the subject of overhyped sci-fi things, The Matrix as well. Apparently the first one was good and then the sequels were unnecessary. And... Again, I'm just going on what I've seen on the Nostalgia Critic because I am actually not all that up on films, so... But before they decide to do a sequel to 50 Shades of Grey.
Which they probably will do because there's like 3 books. They'll probably do the Twilight thing and make a second film and then split the third one into 2 parts because yay!
I mean, I'm more sympathetic to them doing that with, like, Harry Potter and, Hunger Games and whatnot, because, you know, they're based on books. They're trying to turn the book into a screenplay, which is fair enough. It's just that when you have these films that have unnecessary sequel after unnecessary sequel and, you know, remakes that just didn't need to happen.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I mean, the last Harry Potter book is really long, so having that as just one movie, that would have been like about 4 hours or something. So I kind of understand them splitting that into 2, but then Twilight did it, and I don't think their last book is nearly as long. So why did they split that into 2? The Hunger Games, I've not read either, but they've split that into 2, I'm sure for a good reason.
I think that's fair enough, because, and I wouldn't say the last book is particularly super long compared to the other 2, but a lot of shit happens in it, so I can sympathise.
Yeah.
But then there's sort of the other end of the scale. There's I think it's a series of unfortunate events where they tried to fit 3 books into one film, and that just went massively wrong.
Yeah, I can't even remember which 3 books it was, but yeah, I just remember seeing that and just... I was unaware they were based on books. I remember when I was in primary school seeing posters of Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events and just having the titles and the front covers of each of these books. And then there was a film called A Series of Unfortunate Events, and I could not think for the life of me which book it was from and why there was going... And in my mind, I was sort of thinking on the Harry Potter mindset of, oh my goodness, there's going to be 12 of these things. But no. As I grew older and saw a series of unfortunate events a bit more, it was based on 3 books, and I do not even understand why.
It's sort of ironic that the series of unfortunate events includes the fate of the first film anyway. But we've been going for about 11 minutes now, so we should probably wrap up this little discussion, so unless you have anything to add?
Not that I can think of. Anything you'd like to say?
Just my outro. So, I have been and will continue to be Tessellating Hexagons.
And I've been Europe's Gallo 8.
And we have spoken with words as part of VEDA.
But we really probably shouldn't.
Yeah.